Okay, good morning, everyone. It is my pleasure to warmly welcome our speaker today for the IRC or USL 2026, Mr. Tharaka Mahabage, who is Cybersecurity Architect in Kaya. Thank you for being here with us today and for sharing your valuable knowledge and experience. We are delighted to have you and look forward to your inspiring presentation. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Tharaka.
Thank you very much. And it's my pleasure to have this opportunity. And thank you very much for inviting me to do this session. And as you already might know, I'm sure that you all are aware of what's going on in the world right now. So we are being bombarded by AI. But still, some of us do not have the full exposure that's required to navigate through software world when it comes to software security. We see or we think that most of the things that we see in the internet and what's being discussed in social media are correct and the best, but there's a lot happening under the surface. So I'm trying to show you some of the things that are happening in the cybersecurity world and how AI is driving this cybersecurity and how it's going to be in the future. So we will be discussing about building, breaking, defending, and of course, governing the whole security infrastructure when it comes to software. And please do raise any questions if you are not clear or if you have any doubts. All right. So what most of us think cybersecurity is. So when you say hacking, I actually get a lot of requests about, like, there's a lot of requests that comes to me asking what to do when Facebook or WhatsApp, Instagram is hacked. And this is like a very common thing that's happening in the world right now. But when someone says hacking, the other part of the or the other side of the request that I'm seeing is, can you hack WhatsApp of another person? Or can you hack Facebook account of another person? The same with Instagram or email or Gmail actually. So that's what comes to anyone's, I don't say anyone, but most when they see hacking. But cybersecurity is much, much bigger than that. And what we are focusing is not, it's actually the opposite of cybersecurity that we are seeing. So what cybersecurity actually looks like is there are layers of defense. So it's called defense in depth. So it's continuous and organization wide. When I say continuous, so that's something that is possible with current AI infrastructure. Previously, we used to do security checks or audits, say every month or every 3 months. But with current AI, we have the freedom of using it 24/7, keep it running, checking for security issues or security controls without a frequency. All right. And the other thing is we used to do check only the most important departments for security because we had constraints of utilizing our resources. So again, it has come to a point that it's affordable to do these checks for all the departments across the organization. And let's look at the different layers. So the first layer is prevention. There are sayings that prevention is better than cure. So of course, this applies to cybersecurity as well. So stopping threats before the actual impact is the most optimal way. So detection is the next step, but you do the hardening first. So as an example, I'll take the weakest link, which is human. So doing a training, telling the employees about how spam emails work, why they should not click all the links that they get through emails or WhatsApp saying that they won a big amount, a big money, a big prize money from a lottery. So that is the key when it comes to prevention. So when it doesn't matter whether you have the best technology or best firewalls in the world deployed in your organization, if you don't do the awareness among the employees. So that's the first step of prevention. And then you must have the detection. So detection is again setting up controls or alerting to detect possible threats. I can give you an example saying Outlook. When you get an email outside of your organization, you see a message saying you don't see this person sending emails to you often. So that's an indication to show that there is a different email. You should be careful. And that's the best when it comes to identifying phishing. But still, people tend to click those links. So that's why we need to make sure the employees' awareness is the key. And the response. So containing and recover fast. In the current state in the world, we think that cybersecurity is all about prevention, detection, and blocking. But the current world has come to a state that this is the latest concept, concept of security, resilience. Resilience is the objective of cybersecurity. So resilience is you are hit by a ransomware and you are hit at the worst time and your most critical operations are hit. And how do you have controls and how is your process not to get critically down and keep going, keep doing the business as usual tasks with minimum downtime. And that's the resilience and that's the quality of service that your clients or consumers are looking at. And that's the core concept of security as of now. And all this is around that. So using AI to do that is what's expected. So the response is, required response is, there are documentations in an organization that says, okay, you have to email this team or call this number when you see something suspicious. But sending that email to the whole organization once a month, it might not remind the employees in a urgent or an emergency. So you have to figure out a way to have the framework to enable the employees, and you should uh, encourage them to report these more often. And of course, they should have the first step programmed into their brain, and they should quickly, within seconds, they should block email if they see something suspicious, and immediately respond and send it to the IT. So there's no point of sending these emails to the organization if the employees doesn't know what to do. So that's one thing. That's the quality of response of the employees. So that's a KPI. Okay. So above all comes the governance. So you define policies and you identify risks and oversight. So policies are visions. So you have the vision, and then from policies, you derive the procedures, the detailed steps. And these detailed steps differ from organization to organization, and even in organizations differ to departments. So they have their own customized version of steps to follow to implement these security. And these are again should be updated. I'm not sure now because the frequency, now the world has come to a situation where the technology changes every 2 weeks. But if our policies are not updated to reflect these changes, the major changes, I'm not saying that you should update your policies every 2 weeks, but you should have a strategy to have the policies reflect or cover these changes, even if they are changed every 1 year. So that's a key thing as of now. And of course, the risk. There are two sides to it. People who are using AI in the wrong way, and also people when an organization is not utilizing the AI the correct way, is again a risk. All right. So architecture. This most of the time this applies to software development companies, but when another company that does manufacturing, and if they have their own department who does the software for them, they must look at secure by design, because most of the systems are not secure by design, because we came, if you look at past 30 years, none of the more than 80% are not having security as a default. So secure by design is not an option now. It's a mandatory thing. And of course, vibe coding should not be a thing. You shouldn't even talk about vibe coding, because that's in my view, it's like it's the lowest level of programming. So it should not be even promoted. All right. So operations. So this is where the major change is happening in security with the use of AI. All this time, we had to manually run scripts, or we had to develop scripts or other programs to run in a schedule and report us things. But as of now, we can design agents to go one step or two steps further, where they can take certain decisions. Like for an example, if they see there's a malicious request coming from a third-party API that used to actually give us sensitive or proper legitimate traffic. So we should check it for once, twice, and then decide what needs to be done at midnight. So this, you might have a team looking at the alerts, you might have a SOC, but if that is not the case, if you are not having that capability, but still this is a risk. So in this case, you can probably check using AI for this, AI agents. So these operations have improved a lot during the last 6 months. So cybersecurity, we think that it's most of the time people have the idea of only hacking, and sometimes when someone says cybersecurity, the only thing that comes to our mind is firewall. Yeah, only the firewall, WAF, and web server. But the ecosystem is, we have to build secure systems, and of course, we have to defend, where tools like firewalls, IDS, IPS, intruder detection and prevention systems, and the important piece, breaking. So this is called red teaming. So red teaming came from military, where they had their special force individuals testing their controls to make sure that they are unbreachable. So that way, uh, in soft security world, it says it's understood that you are strong as your strength of red team. Because if you don't know how to break something, and if someone else outside knows to break it, you are not secure there. So you have to have a very good red team that's able to find and break all your weaknesses. So that's what a red team does. And govern. Like I said, the policy defines, your vision defines where you are going, and where you are going securely. So that it must have the proper mechanism to identify risk and to define policies, and of course, how to oversight certain areas to the future. Okay, so let's look at cybersecurity career universe. Like I mentioned in the first slide, we know only about hacking, hacking Facebook, hacking WhatsApp, and maybe hacking a couple of other things. But in current state, anything related to computer, and if you are working in front of a computer, it's a must know knowledge, cybersecurity and AI. So software developers who doesn't know security is not actually useful as of now. So software developers must know security. And simulating adversary. So the red teaming attackers, like I mentioned, the red teamers are a key thing. But this portion is like 5% of the total cybersecurity workforce in the world, because the best are selected automatically. So focusing that is not a strategic move. If you're really good, you know, all right? And defenders, of course. So most of the defenders start with SOC. SOC is Security Operations Center of an organization. So they start with looking at alerts that comes from different systems like firewalls, IDS, IPS, and EDR. EDR stands for endpoint detection and response. XDR is extended defending and response. So these things are sending you alerts, and you are there to make decisions on areas that requires human decisions. So that's where you start in Defenders. And you can move up the ladder, setting up controls, defining set architectures and everything. And then comes the architects. The key of most organizations. So you can be a software architect that defines the security of a software system and enterprise software that works across multiple locations around the world. So that's a key knowledge in the current state. And you can also be an architect, a key architect, setting up the security of an organization, setting up all the infrastructure, cloud security, and the SOC, and up managing the security vision, working as a CISO, and doing the proper communication to the executive management as well as the other levels of security, other levels of employees. So that architect is the most important thing as of now, because sometimes, not sometimes, the current state of the world, most of the software are already written and the software is not securely designed. So the security is a wrapper. It's like a shell around these applications. So managing this is the most difficult thing. So these architects must know everything: networking to OS to policies to vision, strategy, AI, everything. So that's a pretty interesting area. And governance. So I'm not sure whether you all are aware that most these type of jobs, people doesn't know that these jobs exist, and there's a shortage, as I know, in Sri Lanka for this area. Who doesn't know ISO 27000, HIPAA, GDPR, COVID? So these controls, the international standards are not a common thing in universities, because these are not taught in universities, but this is what's required to be taught in universities so that fresh graduates can be hired for these positions. Because the fresh graduates who are coming out of universities needs to be trained another 2 to 3 years to get into these positions. So that's something lacking we see in the current education system. And leadership. So setting strategy and the direction. I think this is a very chaotic period where most of the high profile individuals are also not pretty sure about what's really going on in AI world. Because I think I saw yesterday or day before that, or sometime back, Claude is able to feel the problem. When you see that, just think, okay, everyone in your organization and everyone outside your organization uses Claude. And if someone feels, or an AI feels something, it totally depends on the mode. It can be happy, angry, or jealous. So as per these modes, the way it responds to the same question might differ. So just think, how would you manage that? And that's the current problem most of the AI companies are trying to solve. Okay, so the builders. Here are the builders: software engineers, DevSecOps, cloud, platform, security, and AI. Software engineers, of course, you all know what software engineers are. But even yesterday, I did a video saying that the basics of programming. As I see, the basics have changed. So it's no more data structures. They're already there. I mean, we expect that. But on top of that, we need you all to know systems thinking and concurrency, error handling, of course, disaster management, disaster recovery, so edge computing. So these things have become the new basics. So that's one thing. And DevSecOps. DevSecOps, it's actually still most of the companies talks about DevOps, where this team is taking care of what's happening after a developer writes the code to a code repository. So DevOps engineers pull the code, compile it, or do the building and packaging, and deploy it to test environment, and then from testing to UAT to pre-production, and then finally to production. And this should be taught as a degree, in my view, because this is a saying in Sinhala. Maturaki shilpayamai ugatamana. So these job roles takes another 1 or 2 years for engineers to be qualified to start working on this. So we are already late. So that's something that we need to change. And if the system doesn't change, it's the students' actually responsibility to start on learning these areas. Of course, cloud. Now, cloud is the norm now. Everything runs from cloud because specialization, you don't need to be a cloud specialist for you to develop on cloud or deploy in cloud, because all those areas are now abstracted. You don't have to worry about the disaster management, because they already give the disaster management. It's already included in the service. But you have to have the knowledge on how to use certain products from vendors: AWS, GCP, Azure, and Oracle, IBM, all these clouds, and Alibaba. So these things, the concepts are really important. And of course, how you can use AI to build this faster. Same with DevSecOps. Actually, I don't do commands anymore. Just one prompt, it builds the whole thing and deploys to cloud. And that needs to be taught to all the engineers in the university. Platform is setting up the operating system. Not only one operating system, maybe clusters, database clusters, and other services in the cloud and everything. So security engineers takes care of security in all layers: networking, operating system, web servers, anything else that talks about security is their job. And AI engineers. I'm really confused when they say AI engineers. For me, AI engineers are actually customizing. The people who are customizing, tuning, and building enterprise variants of AI. Because some of these AIs out there, you cannot really take directly and apply to your organization, because some of these organizations are not generalists. Say, if you are a company that develops, say, weapons, the company like Lockheed Martin. So Lockheed Martin is the company who develops, who built F-35 fighter jet. You can't use ChatGPT inside that, because they have to have a different security protocol. So AI engineers in that company takes these models, maybe not exactly ChatGPT or a different model, and customize it to their organization. So that's what's happening in builders area. And in builders, the new, it's not new, it's called purple. So having an attacking mind and building is called purple teaming, where you get your red team to do, where you get your red team's inputs to do development. So you have the design, have the security in the design. And like I said, breaking, pen testing, red teaming are the key, because pen testing is just you checking whether you can penetrate, you can find out the vulnerabilities and everything. Red teaming actually exploits these findings, whether you can go in and how you can move inside an organization, and you don't do a lot of damage, but you get the proof and show the teams, networking and everybody, that you can actually reach your top level. So in enterprises, there's this concept called crown jewels. Crown jewels is like, like crown jewels. They identify your most important critical assets, and reaching those from outside says that your security is useless. So that's what red teams does. And application testers, you can use tools, and you can use manual testing. And this is again an area mostly affected by QA. The red teaming, you start with AI tools, but some of these testing still requires human thinking. Application security testing, again, 80% is done using AI, and knowing that AI piece, you can't say you are an application security tester if you doesn't know that. So that's a must. And of course, mobile security applies the same. Cloud security, there are free and open source frameworks that can be easily used using AI. So most of these areas are getting automated, and most of the attacks are actually 1 or 2 steps ahead of uh, defending. I think there was a news about first ransomware attack from AI. And you must have a channel. If you are security oriented, you must have a channel to get most of the updates mixed into your TikTok or Instagram or Facebook feed. So that'll make it easy for you to get these updates. So the attack life cycle is you recon. Recon is you scan your target and find anything and everything about the target that will interpret how good your target is when it comes to security, and how capable they are, and how good their defense is. And then when you find a weakness, you build your tool, and then you weaponize it. And then using that, you break in and then you figure out a way to stay there without getting caught and then taking the price. So that's usually what's happening. So there was a breach last week or before, iPhone hack, 663 GB of data being exfiltrated from a company in India. So it's never going to stop. So you should keep tracking them. And defenders. So these are the best areas to find jobs. And SOC analysts find out what their key skills are. And of course, threat hunting. Threat hunting involves, there are platforms like, let me show you one. So this platform, this is a open source platform. This platform is having sensors around the world. Sensors in the sense you have different servers in, say, Europe, multiple locations in Europe, US, all around the world. Maybe servers or maybe routers, firewalls, and everything. They collect data about traffic. And from this traffic, they identify what are the latest ransomware, what are the latest Trojans, and everything. So these things have a pattern. So when you get feeds from this framework or platform, you can actually get the patterns. Okay, so here you say file MD hash. So this is like a key. This is like your this is similar to your NIC. Okay, so you can check whether this NIC is inside your network, so that you can be sure, okay, these are not this is not in our network. So this is something that's being done around the world. So this has been there for many years, but now it has AI enabled framework. So you can easily pull this data and use AI to find them in your environment. And this is open source. So you will just have to spend a couple of bucks for DeepSeek and have it do this check 24/7. Okay, so that's threat hunting. And insider responder. So this is again what you respond to incident. So the important is what our people do is, most of the time when we see something like this, we post it to maybe Facebook or Instagram. But uh, this is the most failures that I see in most of the companies, because employees doesn't know what to do when in an incident. I'm pretty sure what you have no idea what you should do if you see your Facebook is hacked or WhatsApp is gone. I think you should find that out immediately, soon after the meeting. And DFIR is, as I remember, it's forensics. So how to handle forensics? And forensics is finding out what really happened in an incident at a later time. So it's like I'm asked to do an analysis of an incident that happened 1 year ago and how you can do it with the data that you have now. But you can't do much about that because it's already happened. But as DFIR specialists, you are to take care about current incidents in future. So you have to set the current state controls, and you have to inform employees about how to handle a situation. So it's not only handling incident and telling someone, but if you see that your machine is acting weird and most probably it could be a ransomware, and you should know what to do. You should not shut it down. You should disconnect the network and then immediately uh, call the specialist, the IT. Even IT might not know how to handle ransomware. So the best practice is to disconnect and keep it running, because if you shut it down, you are going to lose a lot of evidence in memory and running processes. So that's the first step to do any malware incident. And malware analysts. So most of the companies doesn't require malware analysts, because malware analysts are required to read the malware and write anti-malware. So these could be anti-malware companies which are deep tech, but it's good to go into this area, because if you're really good in tech, that's a good area to go into. And detection engineering. So detecting is not only one sensor. It should be multiple sensors. You read logs from firewall, you read logs from your laptop, and you correlate them and you find anomalies. So these are the work of detection engineers. And SOC operations are collect logs and telemetry. Telemetry is, let me try to pull up something that I have. So I am having my own cloud, and here I have set up a test environment called Wazuh. So this is a like a SIEM. I can log into that and see whether we can see any alerts. See, so I know this is exactly what this is actually not exactly SOC, but DevOps also does this. So we look at the CPU, memory, and if there's spikes like this, we see if this is unusual, we know something's not normal. So this easily alerts. So we can set alerts and send out to emails, SMS, WhatsApp, Telegram, everything. So these are the telemetry that defines how secure, how stable, or how resilient we are. And let's see. And also this monitoring the speed, and if there's a drop and how it affects us. So these are key telemetry. And connecting this to the outside world, I'm still working on it in my current environment, because this is just a mini project, a pet project. So just wanted to give you an idea what's happening in a SOC and what's expected. Okay, architects. So this is where I am in. You have to not only think in technology and different layers, but as of now, you have to be you have to think about psychology as well, because just look at the feed that's coming in social media, and most of the influencers, I don't call them influencers, because the similarity between influencers and phishing and con artists are very much alike, because the techniques that they experience, saying to get more views, you have to do this, you have to do that, but all that points to exploiting our thinking or how we see the world. So what is actually happening is they're actually hacking our mind. So you look at them in that angle, the awareness. So to get more views, what actually they do is they don't add value. They just give you something that gives you dopamine. And just look at the content in this thing, because have you seen, they use terms like, have you seen this, or this is a must see, uh, something like that. But when you go into the video or when you go into the article, there's nothing, it's average. And that's the main thing that you have to identify when you see something like that. Because when they don't have something, they start with saying this is a must know and this is very important, which is not the case almost all the time. So as a security architect, we must design even the UIs thinking on that manner to block out the possible hacks of hacking the users' minds. So that's security architect. So cloud security architect, of course, you have to, let me show you. You will not be excited, or you will not be surprised if you try this by your own, because you can easily create a account, and there's a free tier. You can create one server that will give you 720 hours for free a month, and you can learn a lot. So do create this, go to EC2s and look at creating servers, and you can easily create one. And then under this EC2 is where you, it's like a VM. So yeah, actually VMs are called EC2 in AWS. And in AWS, security group is similar to a firewall. So you open only the ports that you require. So I'm showing this to you just to give you a couple of must know keywords to start with. And there's plenty of content in YouTube and Facebook, not Facebook, even Facebook you can find. And find them out, try out, and feel what's around the world, and find out what you don't know that you don't know. And I am architect is actually this. So I am stands for identity and access management. In cloud, that defines who has access to what. And in an organization, there's thousands of users accessing thousands of services in multiple access levels. So defining that, it's like a very complex design. So there are jobs specifically in AWS or Azure, and this is something very interesting and fun thing to do that will earn you money. An enterprise architect, of course, providing services or designing for enterprises. So reference architectures are identity and access management, network and edge computing. And of course, you know about network, but edge computing is designing how your organization or your software work in the cloud, connecting the users from the edge of the cloud. So the users are also the edge. So designing that for the minimum latency and maximum performance is the key. And application and data. So here, I think you all know about PDPA, the act that's going to be activated pretty soon in Sri Lanka, privacy data. And around the world, in Europe, they have GDPR, and then in the US they have HIPAA and multiple controls over application and data, and they really do take care of privacy. It's a must know. Once again, these areas are not taught in universities, which should be, and this is a huge gap. So all these areas that I'm talking about, you can easily learn about this using AI and how AI is being used in each of these areas in identity and access management, identifying anomalies and networking and edge, identifying anomalies, anomalous networking. It's a must. And endpoint and cloud. So endpoints endpoints are actually the computers that users or employees use in an organization, in an enterprise, and how they connect to the cloud, the security, the VPN. Now it's not the VPN anymore. It's called zero trust, and of course monitoring and response in an organization, in an enterprise, how these things are designed. That's the work of architects, and also the architects should design how to keep these improving with AI. So that's the most difficult thing, since the AI is improving every 2 weeks. And governance, risk, and compliance. So that's GRC analyst, risk analysts, compliance officers, auditors, privacy officers. So these areas, I don't think many knows that these are real jobs in cybersecurity. This is a huge gap. And knowing ISO 27000, SOC 2, GDPR, HIPAA is for health data in the US. NIST is again a framework from the US government, and PCI-DSS is the card data compliance. So knowing this, if you actually mention one of these keywords in an interview, probably that'll add a lot of value to you. So do R&D, because I'm not going to explain each of these areas. It's going to take a lot of time, but this session, the whole session is like a table of content, a set of keywords for you to explore, do research, and find out more details. I'm not sure whether you all have heard about this. I'm sure that many. It's called Rumsfeld matrix. So Rumsfeld matrix it explains about known knowns are the knowledge that you know that you know. Known unknowns, you know that you don't know. So you know that you don't know about rocket science or quantum entanglement. Unknown knowns are the things like your knowledge about I don't know. So how to use Windows to the best. But the areas are that you need to find out are unknown unknowns, because you don't know even know that you don't know. So many things are in this space. So your capability to learn something new fast is going to help you in the long run. Okay. The new reality is human AI cybersecurity professionals too. So for me, AI has given me wings. I can explain about how I'll explain towards the end. So you have the judgment, the context, and AI gives you the speed and the scale. So AI changes from pen tester with AI, so manual recon, slow scripting, to automated recon and payload synthesis. So payload generation, everything can be done automatically, but for pen testers, there are special models to write scripts, because ChatGPT, Claude, or any other AI will not tell you how to hack or how to, like, they won't write you scripts to exploit. But there are models, these are called uncensored, and some are jailbroken models. So jailbreaking or uncensored are the models that doesn't have the guardrails. Like these current models have, if we ask how to write a malware, it says I can't, because it's against the code of ethics. But when you remove the guardrails, it'll easily write these models. I'll show one like simple script, or else let me try it now. So I have my little right exploit for Apache web server. Fortunately or unfortunately, it's not responding, but let's hope that it'll respond and we'll move on. So that's pen testing. It's really it's worse than we think. So just think, so it's that easy for me to write exploits. And if someone who didn't have really good technical knowledge is now able to write malware, as it's that easy. So SOC analysts drowning in alerts. So they get thousands of alerts and triaging, enriching context. It's all AI driven now. Architects hand built threat models, but now AI assisted designings and reviews and simulating. GRC, you don't have to write down all the manuals now, right? Manually or policies. It's all auto-mapped controls and gaps. So it's all AI assisted. And the productivity. And the keyword right now is AI augmented. So it's all AI augmented development or AI augmented software engineering. So it's not it's not AI driven or AI assisted. It's all AI augmented, right? Parallel execution, parallel investigation, and passive verification and validation. For an example, for passive verification and validation means I did a project about 1 month back. So I do the development using AI, Cloud Code, Kilo, Open Code, all those agents. So I write the code and commit to the code base. And after that, it automatically triggers my other framework who are reviewing the code, building the code, analyzing, testing, everything happening in the backend. So it's passive, all passively done. So it's some of the things even I don't know, but were tested. So that's the level of productivity and quality being delivered with AI. And AI for builders, requirements. So as of now, the latest concept is called spec-driven development. You write the specification in detailed manner for agents to pick and develop. So the ability to write requirements clearly in agent's language is the requirement. And that requirement should have security and performance, concurrency, all those basics that I've mentioned. they should be in the specification. And the vibe coders doesn't know any of those, and it's unknowns to them. So don't be vibe coders anymore. So requirements, threat modeling, secure code reviews, architectural reviews, you have to do them. So I already mentioned, so reconnaissance is collecting data, and operating open source intelligence is out there. It's been there for decades. Find them out. And payload generation, it's easy, like I mentioned, as I showed. And reporting is again a different language where you have to talk to senior management and senior executives. You have to tell them in their language, okay, this is how it's, and this is how bad it is, and this is going to make you lose a lot of money. So then only they'll understand. Red teaming. So you emulate threat actors. So you run simulations on an environment, because that's possible with AI, but before it's not there. And attack path discovery, you can have multiple steps being done by AI. Before it was only one step. And research automation, it keeps doing a lot of things, trying out different paths. All that is automatable now with AI in red teaming. So log analysis, alert triaging, and incident investigation. So these were done by SOC analysts manually, but now with AI, 10 SOC engineers work has come to maybe 3. And being a SOC analyst who doesn't know how to use AI to do this is useless actually. So that's what I mean when I say use AI tools. It's not ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude. It's all automating, going to the core, using the CLI tools, automating it, and just getting alerts after the analysis. So in our company, we started saying we do 10x. So that's like one engineer is 10 times an engineer. But now we have come to a point where we are 100x. Because I believe you all can see to what extent we use AI. Okay, so we have gone to the extent to bring uncensored models to write test cases to test our environments, right? So we don't stop by just using censored models. So that's, I don't know whether that's the next level, but I hope that's it. So security architects, threat modeling is identifying types of attacks or types of users of hackers. Okay, so looking at new attack vectors being discussed in dark web, or I have a engine running scanning dark web and bringing me details about new attack vectors every day morning, which I can't show you, but it's there. And design reviews automated, and security decisions, I run these scans and I get number of alerts, and I'm identifying, okay, what alerts change and what are the attacks that I get more often. So all that is automated, and decisions automated. GRC. So one more thing that I hated was in ISO and all this. In our company, we have ISO, SOC 2, and HIPAA. So to get this, I had a very busy time for 3 months. But then maintaining that was one of the most difficult things, collecting logs and managing things, reviewing. So what I've done is I have automated everything. So collecting logs of people's access to cloud, all is being monitored 24/7 by my agents and being uploaded to a system that monitors our compliance. So that is where the current AI GRC is. Got it? Now, these things are not being discussed commonly, or I don't see this being discussed in popular media or social media. Prompt injection, actually prompt engineering, it's ancient now. It's only one person talks about prompts or two. So prompts are for lazy people who try to get the maximum out of one prompt. Keep doing context engineering where you talk to the agents and explain what's really required. And then let data leakage. Try, so this applies to a lot of enterprises where they are really worried about their data security if they are using public services. Say ChatGPT, if Lockheed Martin is using ChatGPT and their engineers are talking about the F-35 jet, and ChatGPT has access to their designs. So they are really worried about data leakage. So how does that affects the organization as well as open AI? So those things are the newest trends. And agent security. This is, I can talk about agent security and AI, the identity crisis in AI era for 4 hours. So agents do work for you and they go and fetch data and do comments and all that. And that thing breaks a lot of rules and you don't have a full control over that for many people. So that again is a critical thing that you will have to think about. And LLM security. So large language model security. Like there's a lot of things going on. This prompt injection attacks, and they're freely available. So the future security team is all AI augmented builders, red teaming, blue teaming, security, GRC, and security of AI itself. So I assume that you all got an understanding how AI has affected all the layers or different areas of knowledge. Foundational are still there, but now they have AI native and the human edge. As of now, most of these areas still requires humans, but pretty soon it will be questionable whether they will still require humans, but let's see what the major companies do. So let's build, break, and defend and govern with AI. So that's all what I have planned, and hope that I have added something new to your knowledge base. And feel free to ask me any question if you all have any. How I log into the dark web? I tried all, but there is no way resource how to access it. Okay, I'll tell you one thing about dark web. I survived. No, I can't say I survived. You all survived without dark web all this time, right? So you can do the same until you die, because dark web doesn't have any value adding thing. All things in dark web are either it's not either, it's all illegal, like drugs, trafficking, everything, all the bad things, and all the transactions are happening through crypto, which is untraceable. So there's nothing valuating in dark web. The time that you spend in dark web is totally waste. So only thing that you can earn something is if you are into developing a framework to find something, data leakage in dark web, and giving companies. That's the only thing that will add value. Other than that, don't even spend time talking about dark web. It's a total waste. You can start with different areas. You can start with secure software development if you're into development, and secure networking. All these areas that you know, add secure in front and search. As a beginner, how can I start cybersecurity basic part? So I showed you different areas. So use this. So builders use this. These are the areas. Scan, search along these areas. So these are exact areas that you can search for. I don't know what is your specialty or the area that you like, but search through these areas and you will find the important things. Okay, what else? If it may be possible to share your presentation slides in PDF, if possible, it would be great. Thank you. Okay, what I will do is I will share this. I will share this content through a website. How does that sound? Because this presentation is designed to present, not to not to be used or consumed as knowledge. So I will create a website. I have a website. I'll put this into a web page and I'll share the projects. So once again, you are shooting everywhere. So if you are doing software development, do your software development, make it secure software development, and make sure that you use AI to the maximum, not forgetting the basics. So when I say programming basics, you should know data structures, loops, and everything. And on top of that, you must know how to use Cloud Co. I'll say open. You can use Codex, Cloud Code, Code Whale, Open Code, J Code, Goose, Hilo CLI, all these tools. Okay. Use those tools and make your project AI augmented delivery.
I think there are no any questions. Okay. On behalf of everyone here and IRC or USA 2026, I would like to express our heartfelt thanks to Mr. Tharaka Mahabage for your valuable and inspiring presentation. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, experience, and time with us. We truly appreciate your presence and the insight you have given us today. Once again, thank you, and we wish you all the best. Finally, thank you everyone for participating.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for the opportunity.